Yeah! Outside of the first-class cabin, they found Clover. She was standing in front of the wall. She was staring at a meaningless point on the wall, her eyes blank. What should Junpei do? Talk to her, man! Are you alright? He did his best to sound friendly, but Clover didn't respond. Look, I know you're really worried, but he could think of no word to say that didn't sound hollow and fake. Junpei hesitated. Clover was so consumed by worry and fear that Junpei feared it would crush her. Her actions hadn't surprised him. She had suddenly lost her brother, who she seemed to have been very close to. Alone. Her voice was thin and barely audible. Leave me alone? I said leave me alone! Damn it! She was suddenly screaming. You're so annoying. Just go away and leave me alone. Just looking at you guys is pissing me off. Holy craps. Go away, okay? Just go somewhere else. Stop bothering me. Junpei was taken aback. Such anger and hate. Jun's eyes had gone wide with surprise as well. Why are you still here? Didn't you hear me? Fine, forget it. If you aren't gonna leave, then I'll just... Alright. Let's go, Jun. Yeah. They turned and left Clover. As they did, Junpei glanced back over his shoulder to see Clover wiping tears from her face. Jeez. Clover had driven home the misery of her situation, but Junpei told himself that getting depressed would get him nowhere but depressed. For Clover's sake, he had to find Snake, and fast. He did his best to push away the misery and depression and force a smile. So, where do you think we should go next? That's the hallway with all the rooms. Hey, I want to go back to the C deck. We can take a look at that hallway with all the rooms. Okay, let's get going then. Together, they ran down the stairs. Ahead of them, farther down the hallway, they spotted Ace. Hey! Snake! Where are you? Answer me if you're there! Junpei paused. What did he want to do? I don't know, run to Ace. With Jun in tow, Junpei jogged up to Ace. Hearing their footsteps, he turned to greet them. Ah, hello there. Snake is... well, it's obvious, isn't it? I assume you haven't found him yet either? Junpei nodded. I really wonder where he could have gone. Well, wherever he's disappeared to, we must find him as quickly as we can, for Clover's sake. Right. Jun's face looked kind of enraptured. What? By the way, do you think Clover and Snake are really siblings? Ah. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? The question seems somehow odd to Junpei. Why? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? They don't look alike at all. Ace looked at him for a moment and then spoke. Yes, you know, now that you mention it, they don't. Now that you mention it? Still, there are a great many siblings who do not look like one another. It certainly isn't rare. Junpei wasn't sure why, or even if he was seeing what he thought he was. He could have sworn that Ace's face tightened as he spoke. At any rate, we must really find Snake as soon as possible. The clock is ticking. We really can't afford to waste any time. His face looks really weird right now. Very well. Let's get back to the search, shall we? Sure, just as soon as you fix your fucked up eye. Or eyes. You can leave this area to me. Alright. Let's go, Jumpy. At Jun's urging, they left. Well, nowhere but the, They found themselves back at the stairs, but Junpei's mind was in turmoil. There was so much to think about, but... no, it'd have to be put aside for now. As Ace had said, finding Snake was a top priority. Junpei did his best to clear his mind. Alright, where should we go next? I don't know, hospital? Why don't we go back to the big hospital room? Okay, let's go then. They turned and headed back toward the large hospital room. Yeah! On the way to the large hospital room, Junpei and Jun noticed Santa standing next to the number 3 door. Junpei paused. Talk to him! Junpei and Jun walked up to Santa. What are you doing? What, you can't tell? I'm checking out the red. Why, is there something bothering you? What? It's not bothering you? Huh? The guts of this red. Why wouldn't you wonder who the hell put it back in here? Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm curious too, but who do you think did it? What the hell's up with their hands? Santa's eyes narrowed as he looked at June. She shook her head. I don't know. Well, what about you, Junpei? Who do you think fixed this thing for us? Oh. Why is Lotus even an option? I don't know. I don't think Snake would have just wandered away if he had fixed it, so... Maybe there's someone else on this ship with us. You mean someone hiding here? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just an idea. And you're saying this mystery person fixed the Reds? Yeah. Why? That's, I don't know. Santa shoved his hands into his pockets and cracked his knuckles. Seems unlikely. Why? I don't know. Just a feeling. Also, he cracked his knuckles after he shoved his hands into his pockets. I mean, it's not impossible, but... Just a feeling. Hard to believe Zero would bring in a secret 10th player. I mean, the name of the game is a Nonary game, for Christ's sake. You know what Nonary means, right? It means 9. No, that's not what I meant. I mean more like someone who's been living here for a long time. Or someone who, like, stayed here. Seriously? That's even more ridiculous. Why do you think Zero would leave them alone? Junpei furrowed his brow. So in other words, one of us is the person who fixed the Red. Santa grinned. Bingo. We have a winner. But if that's true, then the person who did it doesn't want the rest of us to know. They fixed the Red. Yeah. But why? No idea. Maybe if they come clean on that, it means we find out something else. Something bad. Something bad? Don't know. But whatever it is, it's gotta be worth hiding. Of course. Could have something to do with Snake's disappearance. Think maybe they did something to Snake? It's not out of the question. Junpei stared at Santa. There was something about him that made Junpei wary. At first, he assumed the other man wasn't terribly clever, but Junpei was beginning to think he would need to reevaluate that assessment. When Santa spoke again, his voice was quiet. Look, if you trust anybody in this game, you're gonna lose. You've got to be careful. The person you trust the most could turn out to be the one who stabs you in the back. June? With that depressing suggestion, he turned and quietly walked away. Junpei and June looked at one another and smiled awkwardly. Where would they go next? I guess back to the casino? Take a look around the casino. Okay. They quickened their pace and headed for B-Deck. Is Lotus still here? There was no one there. They had no choice. Junpei and June turned around and headed to a different location. So where did everyone disappear to? They looked everywhere they could think of, but Snake was nowhere to be found. Lotus looked around at 6 frustrated faces and spoke. We can't keep looking for Snake. Wherever he is, it's not here. We need to get moving. Junpei didn't disagree with what she was saying. Snake seemed to have completely disappeared. There was no point to wasting any more time. The others seemed to be having similar thoughts, but they stayed silent. Finally, 7 spoke. We don't got a choice. Lotus is right. We're not gonna find Snake. There's a problem, though. We gotta figure out who's gonna go through which door. Yes. I have a proposal. She walked back and forth across the floor, her heels clicking against the wood. Finally, she stopped. Why don't we decide on one person to sacrifice? What? Sacrifice? Well, perhaps that's a bit of a harsh word, but yes. You've all figured it out by now, haven't you? We can't all make it through those doors. If we split into 2 teams, 4 and 3 people respectively, then 3 people will be left behind. If we split into 2 teams, 5 and 2 people respectively, then 2 people will be left behind. But if we split into 2 groups of 3, and leave 1 person out, then only 1 person will be left behind. Leave behind 3 people, 2 teams of 4 and 3. Ow. I didn't calculate this out So I guess I'm not sure. So say Lotus, Junpei, and Clover can get through door 8. That leaves 7, Ace, Santa, and June. They can also go through door 8. They could both go through the same door. No. Fuck you. Junpei wasn't quite sure that was true. Wait a minute. 2 people get left behind if we split into 5 and 2. And 1 person left behind if we split to 3, 3, and 1. I got that part. You can't get through the numbered doors with any less than 3 people. But if we split into 4 and 3, what if 3 people have to be left behind? Just run the numbers. I'd say we go through door 7 with 1, 4, 5, and 6. That was not what I had. Who's left over? That would be 3, 7, and 8, which is 9, not here. What's the digital root for that? Exactly. But door 9 isn't here, right? Means they won't be going anywhere. This is just an example, of course. There are a lot of different combinations, but the result will always be the same. It doesn't matter which 4 it is. The 3 that are left over can't go through any of the doors. Go ahead and calculate it if you have the time. I did! I did! I'm going to calculate it again just in case. Yep, I did. Junpei wasn't quite sure that was true. Anyway, that's how it is. Now if we can get back to my proposal, we only have to sacrifice 1 person if we split into 3, 3, and 1. When Seven spoke, his voice was strained. Then, saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind? Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logically and morally the best solution. The other 6 are to survive, and 1 person has to sacrifice themselves. No, it's too cruel. What's so cruel about it? To just sacrifice someone like that? Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of just 1. That's not what I meant. We shouldn't sacrifice anyone. Told you, that's impossible. Wake up. Whoa, calm down, you 2. Santa stepped between Lotus and June. Look, what Lotus is trying to say is that you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right? Exactly. That's how democracy works. And for that reason, I think the only fair way to decide who will be sacrificed is through a vote. What do you think? No, that's terrible. I'm not asking you. Shut up. What about you, Santa? Me? Well, I agree, I guess. Alright, that's 1 vote for. Counting mine, that's 2. 7? I can't say I agree with you, but we don't exactly have a choice. If we don't do something, we're all gonna die. Glad to see you get it. If I can get 1 more vote, then it's decided. What about you, Clover? Clover had moved away from the group and was sitting on one of the beds. Her whole body drooped. Junpei didn't know she'd even heard of Lotus's proposal. Lotus walked over to Clover and gently laid a hand on her shoulder. Your brother has to be behind one of the numbered doors. We searched everywhere, but we didn't find him. Doesn't that mean he has to have gone through one of them somehow? Clover slowly lifted her face. Let's go look for him together, okay? If we sacrifice 1 person, then we can go look for him. You agree with me, right? Clover nodded once. The motion carries. Lotus spun around and walked toward Junpei. Now, let's start a vote too. That won't be necessary. Ace had barely spoken for Lotus's entire speech, and everyone jumped a little. 6 pairs of eyes turned to look at him. He didn't seem to notice or even care. I will stay. That should solve our problem, yes? Ace, what are you saying? No, you can't do that. That won't solve anything. June's voice shook, and she looked around desperately for someone to agree with her. Ace simply looked at her. What? June, I'm afraid you may have misunderstood me. I said I would stay. I never said I would sacrifice myself. Huh? I trust you, each and every one of you. I believe you'll come back for me. Whoa. There's optimistic and then there's just nuts. Those doors only go one way. You go in, you don't come out. If we go through them, you won't be able to return, correct? Yeah. True, but that will not be the case once you've escaped from the ship. What? Please, I beg you, once you've escaped, come back and rescue me. Ideally within the time limit Zero has given us. No, that's ridiculous. There's no way we could get back in time. Finally, Junpei could hold his tongue no longer. We've only got 5 hours left. We don't even know where the hell we are. How on earth are we going to find someone to come and rescue you? And perhaps you'd prefer to stay instead of me. Or perhaps you would be willing to leave Jun behind. Ace's voice was dignified and without a hint of cruelty or malice. Junpei had no rebuttal. See, there's no other choice. And I see we've come to our conclusion. Go on. Don't worry yourselves about me. Go quickly. And if Snake does come through, they'll be able to get through door 3. I wonder if they met up somehow. Junpei stood frozen by indecision, unable to move. Jun bit her lips so hard that Junpei feared she would break the skin. Santa stood against the wall, calm and aloof. Seven tore his beanie from his head and turned it over anxiously in his hands. Only Clover stared at Ace, with an expression Junpei was unable to decipher. Lotus's attitude, however, was different from the others. Good. Let's accept this kind offer then. She smiled, her eyes bright. Ace answered with a smile of his own. Good. I think this is the best for me. Perhaps I'll be able to take a nap. Perhaps it's my age, but I get so tired easily these days. As he spoke, Ace lowered himself down to the floor next to one of the beds. That was erotic. Okay. On that sexy note... That's hot. Okay, yeah, I'm still gonna pick it up tomorrow, so holla.